So Ben Shapiro was doing another one of his kind of speaking gigs, and someone who I think was a Kyle Kulinski Secular Talk fan had asked him a question, basically, which was one of Kyle's criticisms of Ben Shapiro, which was his tweet in which he says, Israelis like to build, Arabs like to bomb shit, hashtag settlements rock. So check this out, and then we're going to do a little bit of fact checking here.
Can I address those one at a time? Okay, so let's go through them one by one. So let's start with the last one, the bomb crap and live in open sewage. Go back and look at the entire Twitter thread. I was specifically talking about the leadership of Hamas. I actually say that in the thread, like in the next tweet. So I don't believe that all Arabs like to live in open sewage and bomb crap, obviously. I think there are millions of Arabs, I actually say in that thread, in that exact same thread, that there are millions of Arabs across the Middle East who are wonderful people, and there are many millions of Muslims who are wonderful people. So, again, that one's out of context.
Okay, so I actually went back and found a way to basically make this kind of advanced search on Twitter, which basically finds tweets for that day, and I found basically the tweets. He says that, if you look at the thread, which first of all, it's not a thread. There is no thread. The tweet that he sent is not a thread. If you know what a thread is, it's basically when you put a tweet and then you reply to your own tweet, and you constantly keep on doing that. And you reply to your reply, and you reply to your reply, and there's new thread stuff that kind of goes on. So it's not a thread at all. But basically, he sent out this tweet saying Israelis like to build, Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage. Is not a difficult issue. Hashtag settlements rock. At 12:06 p.m. On the 27th of September in 2010. Now, the next tweet that he sent that day, he sent at 12:49 p.m. So you're looking at like a little over 40 minutes later. He says, "Not happy with NBC's comedy premieres this week. Improvement must be drastic and swift now that Zucker is gone." Now, this obviously has nothing to do with the issue, but this is the subsequent tweet that he sent, which again was over 40 minutes later. Now, after that, this is what he says. He sends a tweet a little bit later at 1:17 p.m. So you're looking at like about 30 minutes later. And he says, I should have been more specific. Arabs who actively seek Israel's destruction and who aren't wealthy oil barons. And then he sends some more tweets talking about some baseball players, some tweets about his dad getting a parking ticket at 359, and just some other stuff. And then later on, he also says, I think it has much more to do with the fact that Palestinian leadership, supported by PAL population, uses millions for terror. And then he also responds to somebody by the name of Matt Duss saying, the old racism charge. Please see clarification on Arabs in next post. Reading can be your friend. And then he also says to the other guy again, he says, apologies, you are correct re-slur about Arabs. Not all Arabs like open sewage and blowing things up. Just pals and their allies. And then he also sent out another tweet saying, in the post re-Israelis versus Arabs, I wrote about Arabs who take part in the Israeli-Arab conflict, as anyone who can read knows. So this is a really just all over the place amount of tweets, right? And there's a multitude of problems with what he says. So first of all, it's not a thread. Second of all, a thread and what he did is completely fucking different. So he sent out this clearly bigoted as fuck tweet, basically saying all Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage, and saying all Israelis like to build. And then basically he got this response of a bunch of people saying, hey, you're being a fucking racist, bigoted piece of shit. And he's like, oh, fuck, I need to backtrack on this. And that's what he does. That is much different from somebody making a thread and then specifying something right away as if it was their original comment. That was not a part of his original comment. People started saying, hey, you're a racist piece of shit because that's what your tweet says. What the fuck? And that's when he said he decided, holy fuck, like I need to change this shit up. And so he's all over the place here because he says I should have been more specific. Arabs who actively seek Israel's destruction and who aren't wealthy oil barons. So he says more specific, Arabs who actively seek Israel's destruction. Now, the first problem that comes to mind here is what he describes as actively seeking Israel's destruction, because that is a very specific category which he conveniently left out. But also, how does he describe that? Because we know that Ben Shapiro is the king of rapid firing and just spamming the Jew hater card. He's even gone as far as calling Jews who supported Barack Obama Ginos, which are fucking Jews in name only. So this guy is one crazy motherfucker when it comes to calling people anti-Semitic. He also said that the slur neoconservative is fucking anti-Semitic, which is utterly stupid. But, you know, and then he also later on, like way down, he goes on to, you know, as I told you guys, he also says, I think it has much more to do with the fact that that Palestinian leadership supported by PAL population uses millions for terror. So now we're switching it up again from now going from Arabs to Palestinians, in which he's basically saying, he's basically faulting the entire Palestinian population for what the leadership is doing. And he's claimed that he said Hamas, but he never uses the word Hamas. Ever uses the word Hamas here. And keep in mind, in between these tweets that I'm telling you about, he sent a bunch of other tweets out. He was very active on Twitter at this time. And he says, he also says, you know, apologies, you are correct, re-slur about Arabs. Not all Arabs like open sewage and blowing things up, just pals and their allies. So now we're going from being bigoted as fuck and saying that all Arabs want to blow shit up, but now he's saying that all Palestinians want to blow shit up, which is, it's so stupid because you're failing so hard at trying to negate what you just said which is a racist comment, and you're just making another fucking racist comment. It's utterly stupid. And then he goes, and then he has the gall to say, in the post Israelis versus Arabs, I wrote about Arabs who take part in the Israeli-Arab conflict. As anyone who can read knows. Hashtag dumbasses. What the fuck are you even talking about? Even if you were to say the people who take part in the Israeli-Arab conflict, what does that mean for you? What does that mean? What do you deem someone who is taking, how do you deem somebody who's taking part in the conflict? And even if you are, you can't just say that all of them want to blow up shit, because then what you're saying is there's no peace attempts in this period. And then he sends out, there are many, many Christian and Muslim Arabs who are wonderful people, just not the ones who oppose Israel and Israel/Arab conflict. Again, this is murky waters here, because we know that Ben Shapiro is the king, and I repeat, the king of spamming and rapid firing the Jew hater card, where if you don't call Benjamin Netanyahu right after something happens, you're a Jew hater and you're a Jew hating administration. So what the fuck do you mean by that? If you're pro-Palestinian, are you somebody who opposes Israel by your definition? And if you are, then somebody who says, I'm pro-Palestine, but I support a two-state solution, are you saying that they like to bomb shit? It's just all over the place. It's mad stupid.